you're interested in observing the sun. Now, I know I've done a lot of videos on this particular topic of solar observations, but for this particular video, what I want to talk about is, well, not wasting your time in doing so. And what I mean by that is the sun is, well, the sun obviously is a star. And you've seen one star, you might want to say you've seen them all. But the sun does have some interesting things that you can see while observing it. You can see sunspots, you can see prominences, and the frequency and how often you see them are are variable. Oftentimes, the sun does go through active cycles. I believe it's every 12 years, in which, for a period of 12 years, the sun is very active. You'll see a lot of sunspots, you'll see a lot of prominences. And then for the next 12 years, the sun, you're not going to see anything. Well, we're in the waning periods of the sun's active cycle, and therefore the sun is very active. But obviously, the key thing about astronomy is that you have to set up your equipment. Solar telescope, solar filters, have to take time out, have to set everything up, and then you have to go and you have to do the observations. And you go and set everything up, and you get out there, and it's just, the sun isn't active. And then you feel like you wasted your time. Well, as with everything else in astronomy in 2025, there are websites, there are apps that will help. It will help you make better decisions if you're going to observe on a particular day. Not only from a weather standpoint, which I described in an earlier video, but just from a solar observation standpoint or from a sun standpoint. And there's a wonderful website out there that I will be actually doing a run through. Well, it's a website and an app that I will be doing a run through next that can help you decide whether you should take time out of your busy schedule to do solar observation or not. So let's open that up and we'll get it going. Okay, welcome to the SpaceWeather Live app, SpaceWeather Live. It is broken up into two things: aurora activities and solar activities. And what you see is that in the aurora activity part, it gives you an aurora forecast. If you're interested in watching auroras or northern lights, as they're called in the northern hemisphere, where the solar wind interacts with the Earth's magnetic field, this part of the app is for you. It gives you all the information on where it can be located, where the moon is, what's the face of the moon, the lunar calendar. Because if you've done astronomy enough, full moons are generally bad because the light wipes out a lot of other astronomical objects. So you generally want to avoid full moons unless you specifically want to target full moons. But it provides you a lunar phase calendar for your information, so you can decide this is a good time to look at auroras. If you're in an area that has a lot of auroras, it provides information on the solar wind, and you're beginning to realize that for this particular app, you might not be using this part a lot. But anyway, if you're looking for auroras, it gives you information on solar wind, where auroras might be currently located, how active is the solar wind. So it gives you all this information. It gives you a description of what that is so that you know, and therefore it can help you plot when you want to look at auroras. You might be in a location, like say you go to Fairbanks or Anchorage in Alaska or Iceland, and you want to look at auroras. This can help you map out when to actually go out. The next part, which is probably going to be the more popular part, is the solar activity part. First, it shows you the sunspot regions, which what most people like seeing when they look at the sun, which is, if you're doing visuals, the most thing you're probably going to see the easiest. It lets you know where they are in real time. It'll provide a description of how they're classified. And sorry for the ad. This app does come with ads because I'm not going to pay to remove the ads. But it lets you know how they're classified. It'll also go over, and this will be later. It'll also go over or give you information on how they're described by regions. Now, generally, the average user for this will just look at the sunspot location, where they are, or what sunspots are readily available, and then just close that. But I'm just want to let you know that this app offers a lot of information, a lot of useful information. Just learn and become more knowledgeable about how things are described for the sun. It goes over solar flares, which if you're also interested in, especially if you're using a solar telescope, you can actually see smaller solar prominences, which is in essence a smaller, less, and technically it's a solar flare, but it lets you know how active a solar flare it is. It'll talk about the coronal holes. It'll go over the description of that. Now this part, you're not going to be in a position to observe this, but if you're generally interested in just the sun itself, it provides all this wonderful information. You won't be able to observe all this, but if you really become fascinated with the sun, because it is the closest star and the closest star to us, then it is just as interesting as the planets. It just doesn't produce light, which is the most important thing, but it doesn't produce light for us. There's a lot of activity going on with the sun that you can look at on your own and that we are currently measuring. And this app provides a lot of information in regards to that. And I'm just going through, if you really get fascinated in the sun and solar weather and solar activity, it provides all that wonderful information. But that's the app in a nutshell. Okay, that was the Space Weather Live app. It is also a website, SpaceWeatherLive.com. And I found it during the years to be very useful. Not for the Aurora section, but for the solar activity section. Because you're in a situation that's very, very bright out. You want to go and see if the sun's being active. You can just check SpaceWeatherLive.com or SpaceWeatherLive, the app. Look at the sun. Plenty of sunspots. I'm going to go take a look. Or there aren't any sunspots. All right, well, I've seen this one before. I don't need to see it today. And I think it helps you with the best optimization of your time. And I highly recommend it, or any type of other app that you might feel comfortable using to make sure that before you go take the time to set up your equipment, that the sun is in a state that you want to observe. Because ultimately, it comes down to, what do you want to see when you observe the night sky, the sun, the planets, nebulas, galaxies? What is it that you want to see? And therefore, the common theme is that there are websites that are out there that help maximize your time as to how you see fit. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you again.